From the Borough at Athletic Park in Wausau, Wisconsin, it's Chucking It Up with Eric and Dan.
Welcome to Chucking It Up, episode 6. Glad you're here.
Yeah, if you noticed, we have a new intro. That should be a familiar voice to all Woodchucks fans. That is the PA Announcer Tucker Diedrich. And he recorded that new intro for us. And in this episode, we have an outstanding interview with him. It's really good.
Really good interview, really good. If we don't get a bunch of subscribers for this content, really good. He's funny, just really good all around.
Yeah, and we won't keep you too long here before we send you to the interview, but we just want to touch on a few things as we are a week away from opening day for the 2025 season. So we're getting closer.
Yeah, and since our last episode was out, Woodchucks have announced a few players. 2 local kids, one from Rothschild and then one from the Mosinee area. Nate Langben from Wichita State and Keegan Jerschley from South Dakota State. So those 2 kids are local, joining the trend with Sam has Wausau ties, Jake has Wausau ties.
Yeah, and speaking of Jake, I know we announced back on April 7th when we dropped our interview with Jake, that he was coming back to play again this season. But the Woodchucks announced it yesterday, so it is officially official now that Jake will be back.
And as Jake said, Christian Smith-Johnson's back. So the boys are back in town. They're ready to finish the job. So it looks like to be an exciting season. Don't forget, opening day is a week from today. But 29th of May is the home opener at the Borough. Get out there, get out to the Borough, be loud. We got to help these guys finish the job.
Yeah, and obviously the Woodchucks are not home on opening day, but we are going to be watching it, and we suggest everyone else watch it too. Support the team, and then show up for the home opener and make it loud.
Yeah, you can watch the first game on Northwoods League Plus. It's a free app. Download it on your iPhone or Android or your Roku TV or any TV that is a smart TV. You can download it and watch it on there. It's a great app, works great, really user-friendly. But like I said, they announced a few players, those 2 local kids. They made it officially official with Jake and Christian. They also got Charlie Longmire, an outfielder. He's from the University of Evansville, the Aces. And then our third Central Michigan player for this year. We're loading up with these guys. It's Nate Ball, first baseman and outfielder. So those are the ones they've announced since we last were on. So the roster is looking good this year, and just can't wait to see what these boys and the product they can put on the field. With Corey at the helm, we know it's going to be a good product, and it's going to be exciting, and I feel they can finish the job.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season, and the job is not finished, but I have a feeling it's going to get finished this year. So come to the home opener, be part of that job. Let's finish that job together with the Chucks and make it happen.
Yep, and let's not forget to support the newest Wausau team, the Wausau Ignite and Jasmine Estrada. They open June 10th, so let's get out there. I know we're going to that one. It's going to be history made. Let's just get out there and support both teams. But the Chucks, I hope they can finish the job. I believe they can. But don't forget to hit the subscribe button on all our platforms, at whatever you watch it on, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. I know we have big things coming down the pipeline. Maybe something that will get you pumped for the season, so keep an eye out for that. But we have this great interview with Tucker coming. Like Dan said, it's a great interview, and
it's our longest.
We have much to share, so.
No, we won't keep you waiting because Tucker's the main event, and it is our longest interview yet, and it's a good one. So listen to it all.
We talked variety of topics, from baseball to Packer games to sourdough bread making. It's got it all. Yeah. And you'll hear some voices you hear during game day. He does some live things. Just incredible. You'll hear her behind the scenes stories. Don't miss this interview. I know we say this for everyone, and don't miss any of our interviews we have, but this one is truly a do not miss interview.
Yes, and he will make you laugh. He had us laughing a lot during this interview. Such a great interview. So, let's kick it out to the Woodchucks PA announcer, Tucker.
Enjoy the interview. Peace out. Joining us next on the pod is the best PA announcer in the Northwoods, Tucker Diedrich.
Hello, man. How are we doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Real good.
Doing well.
Welcome to Chucking It Up.
Yeah, glad to be here. Glad that there's a Woodchuck-centric podcast finally on the air. It's probably the only Northwoods League team-centric podcast out there. I'll go on record and say it's probably the best one out there. It has to be.
Yeah, right. We'll take it.
I know. So Jay Kerman, who was a play-by-play guy, I know he tried to get a podcast going when he was here. I think he was just trying to, do some interviews. He did, same with you guys, like doing it with but he was more like the players and the coaches and everything, kind of giving them the behind-the-scenes look. But you guys are taking it from a fan perspective. Very cool thing, very cool undertaking. So glad to help out here and keep this rolling.
Yeah. So obviously you're the PA announcer for the Woodchucks. Can you kind of tell us how you got your start with the Woodchucks?
Yeah, absolutely. So my family has been very involved with the Woodchucks for many years, actually. Probably we got season tickets as a family, I think back in 2010, 2009. It was before they did all the renovations. So like old school, all the bleachers, the press box, and like the grandstand seating all under the roof there. So we got season tickets and just started going to games. And then my stepdad got involved a lot more, and he's the host family coordinator now. My stepdad's Mark Fairman. You guys mentioned him a couple episodes ago. So we got involved that way. My stepdad is also the sponsor for the Superstars that comes every year. My sister, she started doing the concessions like when she was in high school, and she started doing the serving up in the luxury boxes eventually. And then it was in 2020 where they put out the announcement of like, we're looking for a new PA announcer. And as soon as that got posted, no less than probably 6 people sent me a message saying, Tucker, you need to do this. Like this is available. You got to go do it. I've been doing comedy, stand up, improv since I was in college, but even when I was younger, I was always the outgoing kid, wanted to be a game show host when I was a little kid, or a weatherman, or something that involved being on TV, really. So I go in and I talk to the Woodchucks, and I sent in I sent in a little voice package where I did a lineup. So I actually I pulled up a lineup from the season before, and I said, well, this is how I would do the lineup, introducing everybody. Which I don't think they asked for that. I I did a fake read of some sort. I think they gave me a read of like, hey, can you read this, thing for, Kerber Rose or one of the other sponsors. I think I did a fake one too, or did like something goofy along with it. And then I also did play-by-play for an imaginary ketchup and mustard race, which they didn't ask for. So
Yeah.
I just kept doing like all these things they didn't want, and somehow they still gave me the job. I actually went into the office, they called me in, and they said, here's the schedule, what games can't you do? So that was the easiest interview I've ever had to do for any job in my life. They were just like, yeah, we know you, we know your family, and we know you'd be great at this. So that was exciting. Unfortunately, that was the 2020 season, so it was abbreviated. It got started later, but still got to have that experience. And then I've been in the PA booth ever since. I have all the games. I love keeping book. And actually, before I got on this call, and I'll get to your questions in a second here. I have 15 more minutes on this. Don't worry. I'm actually trying to update. I'm trying to update the scorebook that I use. Like I make my own scorebook. So I got like all the games that I've done. So this was the last 2 years here. And I'm trying to like find a better. I want to like get it all on one page. But this season, I will be starting off, and I've actually started marking this down as well. On opening day this year, it will be my 145th game in the press box.
That's cool.
Yeah, so super excited for another season up there, and announcing the names for our Chucks.
Your intro is so cool. The way you hold out Woodchucks, it just gets me going.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things like I don't know how it started really. It's one of those weird things. It just you kind of just it's what makes it nice though too. It's like it wasn't like oh, we need a hook, and someone came to me and said like, how can we get people? I was like, I don't know. I just kept when I was doing the intros and I was doing that part, I was like, I'll just hold it out a little bit longer. And there's like, I'll hold it a little bit longer. And it got to a point where the interns were timing me, and they were saying like, okay, you held it out for, you did Wausau Woodchucks for 18 seconds tonight, and then one day it's like, it wasn't as good. It was only 10 seconds. And, so it was just, it kind of became a thing. And even my stepdad was telling me, he would see people like the other teams, they'd be like looking up like in disbelief of like, I can't believe this guy is holding this for this long. And I sometimes black out doing it too. So it's not like I'm looking around and looking for reaction. I'm just kind of like in my own room. I'm like, what's up? and then it's one of those weird things, and it's kind of a comedy trope where you do something once, it's funny. You do something twice, it's a little bit funnier. You do something 3 times, it's hilarious. You do it 4 times, not as funny. 5 times, it's annoying. 6 times, it's funny again. 7 times, not as funny. 8 times, it's funny. And I feel like you can kind of feel that wave sometimes with the crowd, where like you get to about that 10-second moment, and everyone's like, "Yeah, he's really going for it, yeah." And so my stepdad kind of would egg me on, or he'd egg me on sometimes, because if I wasn't for a game and they have someone else that knows that I do that, they'll try to do it themselves. And he'll be like, you got a really good reception when you held it out. I think you got a better reception than you did. And so then he's like, all right, I got to go do it more and better. So, yeah, it was just one of those cool natural things that kind of came about, just seeing how to make it fun up in the booth, and, try to really get the crowd going. And I definitely do feel like when you do something like that and the crowd's like, they feel like they're really revving into it, I mean, that momentum carries into like at least the first half of that lineup when you're announcing those players out there. And you just want that energy from the crowd to transfer over to those players so that they're ready for the game. They know they're getting pumped up for the game. And it's just a cool thing to do. And I hope, my goal is, we got the video board, and, we got all these new amenities with Athletic Park, that I'd really like to see it like kind of take off a little bit more, like when we got like a big Wausau scrolling across the video board, so that, or like people saying it with me. I think that would be really cool. Just keep, I want it to be like it's our thing, in Wausau.
I think they need to bring back where Woody went on a golf cart around the stadium with the flag. I don't know where that went, but that would be a great addition to what you do.
Yeah, or just having him, he has to keep running until I stop, and then we try to make Woody pass out on the third baseline.
Did you do that your first game, or when did you first hold it out like that?
I think it was like towards the end of my first year, I was holding it out, because like that first game, like that first week even, I was just so worried about like just making sure I wasn't like swearing on a microphone more than anything. So like you're just worried, like, because when I'm up there, I'm not only am I doing like the announcing, but I'm doing all the music, I'm doing like the in between innings, and I got to do reads, so I'm like making sure everything's organized. And I do remember after the first game, I'm jacked up, I'm ready to go. We're finally watching baseball again during this COVID summer, and I'm like going into that microphone, and just because I was looking at that last one, I'm just like, shortstop, Jay Berkland, and I'm like this close to the microphone. And after that, Mark was like, it's a little loud. It's like, yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, I'm screaming into a microphone. It's already loud. I mean, I know I'm way too loud in general when I get like into entertainment mode. So I've had to learn how to like, okay, when I'm doing the Wausau Woodchuck thing, I'm probably like a good like 6-7 inches away from the microphone. So like it's because when I do comedy, when I do stand up, you learn how to like manipulate the microphone. So like when you're saying something loud, you have to pull it back, and then you have to really keep it close when you're trying to do like a different character voice or something like that. So it was one of those deals where I kind of learned that like, well, I can do the long Wausau and do it in like a really good bombastic voice, but I just got to make sure I'm just pulled back a little bit, or I try to use the side of the microphone if there's wind coming in. You didn't realize there's all the science that goes into PA announcing. You're just like, oh, it's just some weirdo that goes up on a microphone. Anyone could do that. It's like, well, what's the barometric pressure that day? It's going to depend on how long you're holding out Wausau.
So the first time you did it, were you like, now I have to do this every game?
I think it was just one of those deals where I just liked doing it, and I was like, well, I don't know. And especially in 2020 and 2021, it was Wisconsin I was holding out, so it was Wisconsin, and so I was holding that part out. And then it was just one of those things where it's like, well, I'll just kind of keep doing it this way, and then it just kind of became my thing where it's just like, well, I'm gonna start to hold this out as long as I can. Kind of depends on the day. If my voice is feeling good. Sometimes we have double header games, and sometimes you're on like day 5 of a 6-game homestand. I think there was the 2023 playoff run. No, 2022. That was Corey's first year making the playoffs, and going into that playoff game, I think I was playing in a fast pitch tournament somewhere. And I just felt like I was starting to get like a cold of some sort. You just get that feeling sometimes. It's like, oh, I'm getting sick. Like, I just know something's about to happen. And I think I was like starting to lose my voice almost like as the game was progressing, and like doing a long Wausau, like it definitely had a squeak in it. Like, and I've called that out when that's happened, where I'm just like, Wausau! And then it's just like, all right, well, we're done now. And even last year, when they played the Mallards in Game 2, when I was amped. I was like, oh, they got the win in Madison, which was really hard to do that year. Madison was such a good home team. Berkland hits his first ever home run, and like you knew this was such a good team, and I was like actually amped up and nervous, and I think I got like 4 seconds into my Wausau, and I was like, Wausau! I was like, why are you so nervous? Like, you just have to say names into a microphone. Like, what do you have to be nervous about? That's like the one time where it's like, you want to have fun with it, but there's like, sometimes emotion takes into play. But yeah, it's just a fun thing to do, a little added touch to the game day experience.
So is that recorded? If you could never do it, could they play recording of that?
I've even thought about like just recording like a really, really good one, and that would save voices, and then if there was ever someone in there, but there is something about doing it live.
Right.
And I also think that for the other PA announcers, and like for this year, like we have 2 more guys because we got the softball team this year, so we need more bodies to really help fill out the roster for PA announcers. And even anyone that I've trained to be a PA announcer, like whether it's an intern or whoever it may be, I always tell them, like, I'm not training you to be another me. Like, you don't have to do the long Wausau woodchuck. Yeah, that's not like the expectation. Like, you just be you. You be the best you on microphone, and just be yourself, and it's going to be a way more enjoyable experience instead of like, well, how would Tucker do this, or how would this fit? Don't worry about that. Like, just say the names in the microphone. You'll find ways to make it fun. You'll find ways to interact with the crowd. So, it would be fun, like, if they wanted me to record that, and then that's always there just in case. But, I think it's fun when it's, it's kind of in that moment, because it can really set the tone for the game when it's someone up there doing it versus a recording. But it would be a fun test to see if people would know, right? Like, if they would know, it's like, oh, that was recording. They didn't play well that game.
I feel like it'd be like if the Badgers didn't play jump around after the 3rd quarter. Like, it just wouldn't be the same.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And people would notice. They'd be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, speaking of announcing things, and you say you don't really plan it, did you plan the Minion Night one? When you did the whole lineup in a Minion Night?
Yeah. So one of the we've had Minion Night before. We've always had these fun theme nights and everything. And it was something that I had kind of in my head when I was on my way to the park that night, knowing it was Minion Night. And I was like, in my improv group, we play a game called 5 Things. And it's a charades game, but you get to use like a language, but it's called gibberish. And gibberish is just like the Minion language. It's like, it's that language. So I was like, well, that's just what I do in improv, so I probably could do them. And so I decided, like, well, I'm going to figure out how to do this. So, but the first thing I had to do was I had to get 2 confirmations that I would not get in trouble if I did this. So I first saw Mark McDonald, and I was like, hey, is there any rules that say I have to say the opposing lineups names correctly? Because I think I'd like to try to do this. And he's like, I don't think there's a rule. I was like, well, that's all I need to hear. And then I asked Tracy, because she's like the next big in command that I could find. And I was like, Tracy, is there any rule against this? And she said, nah, not that I know of. I was like, great, I'm on it then. So I went through they were playing Duluth. So I went through the lineup and I tried to at least write down what I think would be good gibberish for the name, so it still sounded like the name, because that's very much Minionish. Is like it still sounds like when they do banana, it's banana. So you can kind of still have it, but then still have that Minion voice within it. So so it was just going through the whole lineup, and I ran by all of the names with the people in the booth. So I was like, okay, I'm thinking of doing this, but I want to make sure it sounds like it doesn't sound like just crazy talk. Like I want it to sound like somewhat coherent while I do this. So I ran through the whole thing, and you guys shared the video of it. So if the listeners, go on the Chucking It Up Instagram page, follow them, get all your updates on these great episodes. A little plug for you guys there. But they posted this video of me doing this. So I go through the whole thing, and and they're liking it and everything. And then I knew the hook of the whole thing was whoever the starting pitcher was, their name had to be exactly right, just and straight. So it just had to be that way for the joke to really land. And there's when you're in the booth, like everything is going towards the field. Like if it's applause, if it's laughter, if it's conversation, it all goes towards the field. It was one of the rare moments that when I said that player's name, I heard the laughter coming at me. Like it was just like you could hear it coming towards the booth, because like everyone's looking up like, what is this maniac doing? And just to have that clear as day starting pitcher come out, that was probably one of my favorite things I did last year. Another one that I did that I think I don't know if it was the last home game of the regular season or if it was during the playoff game, but if you guys have noticed, I can sometimes get a little surly towards the adult contestants in some of the in-between inning games.
I think I was part of one. It was
oh, were you?
Race, and you just kept counting,
Yep.
and counting, and counting.
Oh yeah. So I do that a lot. But in this instance, I said, all right, when I get to 10, you guys are going to go down the third baseline. And I said, like, 1, and then they just started running. Like, they just started taking off. I was like, well, no one, and I'm like on the mic, I was like, no one wins. And I did a thing where I said, you know what? No, everyone here, they do not deserve any sort of round of applause, but what we'll do is on the count of 3, we'll give them 1 clap. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And literally, everyone at Athletic Park just went in unison. And it was the most amazing sound I've ever been able to command a crowd to do. Like I've lived for the laughter and trying to get people to laugh at me most of my life, but to get people just to all clap as one in that moment was beautiful.
Have you ever said anything that got you in a little hot water, or got anyone upset at you?
The only time I've ever had someone upset at me was, and this was, I'll say it was 75% on me, 25% on the players. It was early in the season, and they were, so the players get to pick their walk-up music, and there was someone who was new to the team, and they hadn't gotten their walk-up music in yet. And the players were like, and they talk to the interns, all organize all this stuff. So I just show up and they just have music ready for me. I just make sure it's in the right order, and we're good to go. And so the one player didn't have their music in, so they said, "Oh, it'd be really funny. Like, can you play Barbie Girl for him? Like when he walks up to the plate." And the players are all in on this. The guy didn't get his walk-up music in, so I played Barbie Girl. I was like, oh, okay, that's a fun joke. I do that. And so he was like, all right, nothing happens. And everyone and the interns in the booth are like, oh, you should do that again. And I was like, well, maybe we can change up the song, like we could do, like how about we do Macho Man, like that's a fun, kind of song. So I play that one, and someone comes up to the booth and is like, "Who's playing the music?" And I was like, and they're like looking like down the line, and I kind of see this as like, oh, this isn't good. So I so this lady, so she comes over, is like, "Hey, that's me over here," and because I wasn't gonna put this on like this isn't on me, I was just like, "I'll own it," like I don't care, And there's like, "Who's playing the music first? That's not his song. His song is whatever." And I was like, "What? Oh, okay." He's like, "It's not funny." I'm like, "All right, oh, okay." So we didn't know who this was, but we only could ascertain it was the player's mom or like some sort of family member. So it's like, all right, well, we don't have the song that is his walk-up song because he didn't give it to us. It's the player's thing. We kind of tried to explain all of this, and she's like, "Well, that's not fun." And like, just like, okay, whatever. So it's like, well, trying to play a better song. So my idea was I would play, if we had it. I think we did have it. I was going to play "We're Not Gonna Take It" as like a response. Or I was going to play "Mother" by Danzig. Mother. I just settled on playing like one of the standard walk-up songs. I was like, it's not worth the fight really at this point. So so it's just a goofy thing that's happened in the booth, but like never like had a slip and said something bad. I think like if anything, like I've left the microphone on, and even like when you're in the booth, I'm next to the play-by-play guy, so I can't like, you got to be double careful because you don't want to say something that they're gonna pick up on the broadcast. You don't want to have something like have a hot mic moment where if you think the microphone's off and then something's being said. So been very careful about what I say on the mic and what we're doing. I try to as much fun and as goofy as you want to be, you still gotta have that professionalism in there too, and I was trying to have that, yeah. So it's just that's like my favorite. That's my favorite story with the music. The other one I have, guys, I'll get to your questions in just a second. Don't worry. But so we actually hosted players like for a season, and I can't remember his name, and I apologize. He stayed with us for a couple weeks. And he was telling the story about how he played in another summer league over in Michigan, where they had a rule that when you were the new guy that came mid-season, your walk-up music was, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands until you got a hit. So after you got a hit, then you could change your walk-up song. And he was, so he told that story when we were getting to know him and everything, like, hey, where have you played ball before? And he was in a little bit of a slump and, hitting the ball hard, but just not finding holes or, striking out on some bad pitches. And, I thought, I have an opportunity here to do something. So for his walk-up song, I played "If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands," and play that as he walks up to plate. First pitch swinging, crushes one out of the park, and I was just like, that is amazing. Like that, it worked. You just need it happy and you know it. And it was really funny because Jay Kerman, who was the play-by-play guy, he was the next season. We hosted him actually, so we had the play-by-play guy, and he actually sent me the clip of that call of their comment. He's like, hey, he's coming up to "Happy and You Know It," kind of an odd walk-up song for this moment, and right away just hits it out, and he's just like, well, I guess he's happy and he knows it. So I was able to play into their call, and so yeah, that was really cool. So I've always I felt like, oh, I have the power now. Like you get like this weird ego trip sometimes when you're up in the booth because you're playing this music for these guys. Some have walk-up music, some don't, and I think it was like so for like any time I felt like a guy was slumping or in like a bad count, like I tried to play "If You're Happy and You Know It," like that is the walk-up song, but like it is at bat to try to get like the crowd behind him and try to maybe get him going. I think for Colin Brigham last year, he didn't have a walk-up song, but I just kept playing "Paint It Black" by the Rolling Stones as his song, and I just never changed it. No one ever told me, but like whenever he was in the lineup, it was like, that's his song because that's the song he hits the best to.
Did you have any like PA announcing experience before?
Not really. I mean, Not with the Woodchucks. I had just done a lot of stage, or like just been on stage a lot, doing comedy, I did some plays locally, musicals. I think like the closest to like PAing. My friends run a softball tournament where I grew up, and they were like, "Well, we just need people to like announce like the lineups because like it's a softball tournament, so like no one's paying attention. So they just want like to keep things on track of like, okay, who's up to bat and like keep that. So I would announce that, and I would do like goofy things in between innings, like as the teams were warming up. I had a friend whose name was Jock, who was like our best drinker in our friend group. So I would always joke like, "All right, go to the concession stand now and ask for the Jock Special. That's 2 beers, 1 for each hand." I just, kind of, from just being in comedy and just like the improv, and even when I first started, I would like even I added taglines to some of the ad reads. Like we used to do the Dippin' Dots. We used to promote that a lot before we got like our own soft serve type of deal. I always ended that Dippin' Dots, the ice cream of the future since 1994. So nothing like just being comfortable in front of people and on a microphone, I think was really where like my strengths lied. So I knew like if I do a lot of the stuff off the top of my head. Well, if I just have a script now that I can read, this is gonna be easy. I don't have to memorize any of this stuff. Great.
Can you give us the Miller Lite batter line real quick?
Oh man. All right, Woodchuck fans, it's now time for the Miller Lite beer batter. Tonight's beer batter is the first baseman, Jake Goolsby. If Jake strikes out this at bat, tap Miller Lite Super 1 the rest of the inning. And then I think the one I do with that then is that I love doing this one, especially depending on the night and everything too, and how the game's going. A lot of this stuff is like, okay, what's the vibe of the game? Like if it's a really close game, sometimes you do certain things. If it's kind of a blowout, you kind of try to do certain things as well. One of the things I like doing is because in the top of in the middle of the 6th, I have to announce that like, hey, beer sales end at the end of the 7th. And so I like to announce where the beer batter is. Like if people, it's like, I think it's like top of the 7th. So it's like, all right, well, the beer batter is 7th in this lineup. So, just so you know. So if you want to wait and test your luck, otherwise might as well just go down now. So I love doing the beer batter. That's the only batter I like doing music for, doing like the Chug-a-Lug or the 5 o'clock somewhere. That's the only song I like to do walk-up music for the opposing team, and actually have the music playing continuously through that bat too. That's the only batter I'll do that for. Everything else is just spur of the moment, click, 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 whenever it feels the right time to do it.
I personally like the glass shattering every time there's a foul ball.
Yeah, love to get that one. Like to get that one in there. Now with the video board, we got to do a little bit more coordinating of like, all right, I'm going to do a glass shatter in the next foul ball, so just have that graphic ready. And that's been kind of a fun thing with having the video board is, they've gotten the players to kind of do like the pump up, like make some noise type of graphics. And really when you're in that moment late game when it's like, all right, I'm going to get a pump up song going. You get the graphic of someone, getting the crowd going, and then we can get you can kind of get the crowd going in that way. So that's been another big fun thing to learn and kind of try to teach as well is like the momentum of the game and like when you're playing certain songs and everything. It's like, you don't want to get, there's going to be moments where you can play stuff that gets the crowd going early on in the game, but that's going to be mostly from the action. It's like there's a home run, the crowd's going to go crazy for that. But like when you're getting into like the 6th, 7th inning and you need a big strikeout, you need the crowd to really be behind the pitcher, you need to save some of those moments because if you played the same song like 15, 20 times already, it doesn't mean anything when you get to that pivotal moment. So that's been like a fun thing to learn too. And like you just don't think about it when you're just watching a game. You're just like, yeah, the music's going, I got to get going. But like when you're the person picking the music, like you got to pick the right song in there. And I remember we did a season where I was just the PA and we had someone doing the music. We had an intern doing that. And we're going into the ninth inning and we're down by a run. And it's like, all right, this is our moment. We got to have a pump up song. And the guy plays Country Roads Take Me Home. And I was like, what are we doing? This is not getting anyone fired up right now. You can literally play anything else other than this song, and we will get this crowd going. So let's maybe cut this one a little short and come back and maybe like Thunderstruck or something. I don't know what I might have been talking to someone, but it's one of those things where you hear the song and you're like climbing over people to. It's like the opposite of a hot mic moment.
Right, yeah.
It's a cold song moment.
So how many people are actually in the booth?
All right, so I'll work from my left to the right, and then you'll get a sense. So on the far left in the corner is the video board operator. So they're the ones that actually put like all the graphics up. They get all the lineup people up on there and everything. That's on the far left. Next to them is the scoreboard, the video board scoreboard operator who does all the live stats of the players during the game. So they're doing they're basically making sure that all the stats on the video board are up to date to the at bat that they've had. Then it's me. So I got like about this much space. I got about a little bit more than me and a half wide to work with. Then to my right is the pitch clock operator. Then we have the home camera that goes out to the field that, after they hit the ball, that's the camera that shows the field. Then you have your play-by-play announcer for the Woodchucks that's doing the webcast. They're right there. Then you have Greg Scott, my former boss at East Bay, the official scorer on the other side there. And then actually between play-by-play and Greg is the scoreboard operator. So you have someone operating the scoreboard there, the digital one, not the video one. So the old school digital one. And then if there's room, on the other side of Greg is where a visiting play-by-play person can be. And that's the booth.
Sounds packed.
It is packed. And like last year we had 2 play-by-play people, so that makes it tougher. We used to have, before the video board, we would have the radio broadcast that would be in the corner. So they had to be in one corner, and you had to keep everyone separated so there wasn't bleed of everyone's play-by-play on the game. I hope I'm not missing anyone, because it's just like everyone's in there, it feels like. And when it's raining, it gets even more packed. It's like the one place everyone wants to hang out, and all the interns want to come up and hang out and talk to each other. So it's cozy, that's for sure. But I got a good spot right behind home plate. I can see the players, so if there's any pinch hitters or anything. The only downfall is like it's really hard to see who the pitchers warming up can be, because they're so far away, and even like with binoculars, like the Woodchuck pitcher warms up behind that the left field grandstand deal, so you can't really see who's back there. You can sort of see the visiting because they're coming right down the line. So
I guess you'll have to get my number, because I stand down third. I can text you.
Yeah, just let us know when someone's warming up, and we'll be in good shape. And that helps out too, because it's always I always feel like it's the game of like who can announce the pitcher running in the fastest. It's because sometimes like the visiting team, like they'll know their guys, like they can know by like their outline and how big and small, and sometimes they know like the situation that they're going to come into in a game, and they talk to the coach, so they'll kind of say like, oh, that's this guy, and he kind of walks on the line and tells everyone that. So like you get at that, but sometimes you don't know what the number is, and sometimes the team doesn't bring a play-by-play guy, so you're like talking to the camera guy next to you. It's like, hey, can someone in the booth kind of like just get a camera on the back of his jersey so we can see what number it is, and so we can kind of confirm who's coming into the game. And then 99% of the time the roster number, jersey number matches the player. And then sometimes it's like, weird logos, like a 2 looks like a 7 and a 5 looks like an 8, so it's like, they don't have this guy on the team, and like, whatever, we'll just make up the names, it doesn't matter.
Is there any, outside of like just talking to a crowd, is there any overlap between like stand-up comedy and doing PA?
Yeah, I think it's in stand up, a lot of it is like, planning out bits that you do and like having like a routine, and there is a lot of that like when I'm doing the PA stuff. Like I try to have like for specific games. I do have a lot of like canned lines that I use that I would like do in stand up as well. But the key to like a good stand up is always like making it seem like you're coming up with the stuff on the spot. Like where you're just like, hey, we're just having a conversation. Even though the comedian has been working on this bit. Like when I was first starting comedy, it took me like 5 years to get to an hour of stand up that I would do in a show. And like every time I would do hosting sets, I'd be doing it 10 minutes at a time. So I'd like basically like 6 10-minute sets that I could choose from. But you have to make it sound like, this is the first time you've ever said it, and the people that are listening, this is the first time they've ever heard it. So you try to always make it so like you're almost surprising yourself in those regards. And I feel like when we have the firework nights, and when I talk about like, okay, we're gonna have interns out there dancing for your entertainment and their college credit, like that's a good line that like, you hear people respond to it. So like, all right, I'll keep that in there. When they go out there for the YMCA, hey, this is a song that, not only were they not born for, their parents weren't even born when it came out. So, just you got to find those, lines that get people, that get the reaction, and then you can kind of keep incorporating them. So there is a little bit of that, like, you kind of know what will work and what's funny, and then you got to try some things out, and then at the end it's like, well, we won't try that line ever.
Yeah, so that was my next question.
Yeah.
You ever had anything that didn't land, and you're like, oh, we're not gonna go with that one again?
Not that I think of, because like a lot, just like in baseball, like the bats, if you just gotta flush it and be like, all right, I guess we're not gonna do that one again. You just gotta flush it. Moving on to tomorrow's another day. Yeah.
What does your typical game day look like at the PA announcer, from getting to the ballpark to game time to after the game?
So I usually arrive 45 minutes, 30 minutes before the game. Earlier in the season, about an hour, just as I'm getting back into the groove of everything. I will be training some, training PA people this year, so I got to be there a little bit earlier to not only walk them through it, but then I got to get all my stuff set up. But usually what I'll do is, the first thing I do is I go down below, take a photo of the lineups, because that's usually faster than getting it from, the people that are working up there, getting their scorecards, everything. So I just take a photo of that, get up to the booth, go run through the game day script, make sure that there isn't anything in there that's new or different that I have to be aware of. Sometimes we have extra reads because we'll have a sponsor of the game that, we got to add in a couple of their reads for the game in between innings. They might have a different promotion that they're doing. They might have like a raffle going on. So you just got to kind of cruise the script. If there's any special call outs for groups at the game, just go through that. Just make sure that there's nothing in there that's going to trip me up. There's been some times where I didn't do that, and there's been like a brand new read at the end of the script. So I basically have like all the reads I have to do, and then if they have a new one, they just put it at the end. And there was one time where it's like, oh, I forgot, I didn't know I had a new read, and I'm reading it for the first time ever, like in the microphone, stumbling over it. And I think I even said something like, I'll read that better next time, everyone. So going through that script, then I get the lineups down in my on paper, making sure that positions, numbers, schools, all those are down. Then go through the music, make sure that the promotional music that goes with it, that's all in the right spot. Adjust my songs so that the lineup, walk-up songs matches the lineup. So all I have to do is just hit a button, and then it just keep going down the line. And then just kind of part of my warm-up is kind of doing like the pregame announcements. So when I'm saying like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Athletic Park, where the Wisconsin Raptors take on your Wausauuuuuuu Woodchucks. That's not only getting me warmed up a little bit, but it's helping me test the microphone out a little bit. So the first time I'm turning the microphone on isn't when I'm doing like the first like pitch announcement and you can't hear me, and making sure like all the sounds and levels and everything are good. then it kind of depends. Like if I have time, then I'll go down and talk to my stepdad for a little bit. Sometimes I got to go talk to Abby, who is putting together the script with the interns. Talk to the interns a little bit. Like, hey, here's what we can expect, or if they have anything that they're testing out with the video board, make sure that's all lined up. And then a lot of it is, especially like before the game and during like the first couple of innings, is I'm getting a lot of text messages about like who's participating in the game. So I have to watch the game, have my music ready, keep an eye on my phone, and see like when. So then I have to like write in the script like, okay, it's Eric and Dan who are doing Dizzy Bat Race. So I got to write that down so that when it gets to that time of the game, I just have to read it's Eric and Dan. I don't have to flip through, find my phone or anything, which has happened where I haven't gotten names and I'm like looking at like my phone. It's like, oh, did I get names? I'm like trying to, I've done it so long, I kind of know like, all right, it's time for the cross cutters frisbee toss. Our contestants are down on the field. Their job is to get the closest to Woody, and whoever does is going to win a free haircut from Cost Cutters. I don't have their names, so they're just going to step up and throw. And, yeah.
What about like announcing like the opposing teams like last names? Like how do you know how to pronounce those correctly?
So sometimes if the other team brings a PA person or a play-by-play person, they'll usually come over and say, this is how you pronounce this name. And I'll usually ask too. I'll say like, hey, how do you pronounce this one? If there's no one there, I just do my best and just go with it. I sometimes take cues off the play-by-play people. If they say it a certain way, I'll probably just say it the same way they do. But even like early on with the Woodchucks guys, like it's like I get a name and like, the play-by-play guys haven't met them yet. Interns haven't met them. They just got there that day. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just going to go with this. How's that sound to everybody? And then they're like, all right. Yeah. And then the next day, you're like, you said that name completely wrong. This is how you say it now that we actually got to know them. So, so it's a little bit of like kind of listening to like what other people at booth are saying. And then it's also kind of just like, well, I'll just kind of go with this and see what works.
Do people know who you are? Like, do they know if they see you walking around like that's the PA guy?
They don't. So they don't know me that well, but when they hear my voice, that does resonate a little bit more. So like they know the voice more than they might know me,
right.
Unless they've actually looked in the booth or if they've actually come up and they've had like their kids in the booth doing like the type on the mic or something, which we didn't really do last year. I was on the field a little bit more doing some of the in-between promos, which I'm probably going to do a couple times more this year, but haven't really gotten that notoriety or, no one's like stopping me on the street. It's like, I gotta get your autograph. It's mostly just like, hey, you're the guy in the Woodchucks. All right, Wausau, yeah. So
that's why I wanted you to do the Miller Lite thing so I could see you do it. And I've heard you do it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I gotta see him do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I heard your wife wrote a book on the Woodchucks. It just published.
Yeah. So we've been kind of milling around the site. It started about like a year ago actually, where our son, he's 3 now. We were thinking like it'd be really fun. We've been reading them all these kids books, and it'd be really fun like if we could try to write one like with the Woodchucks. And he had like as a lot of little kids do, like this fear of Woody Woodchuck because he's this big tall woodchuck that no surprise would scare some kids. So he was very afraid of it. So we thought it'd be like let's try to turn that into a children's book about how he can his name, the little boy in the book is Max. He was named after Max Galvin because that was my son's favorite player last year. And mostly because he had the pink sleeve and he just stood out. So he was a big Max Galvin fan. So we have the story of Max who's going to the game with his grandpa. His grandpa, trying to distract him from Woody, being scary. And then later in the book, Woody helps Max out when Max drops his little stuffed Woody, and Max realizes that Woody's actually a good guy. He's just there to have fun and have fun. And I got the book here. It's called Brave Like Grandpa. It's going to be for sale in the Woodchucks woodshed. Is that what we call it? The woodshed? I don't even know. You don't promote it as well as you should for the reads. But yeah, it's going to be in the team store this year, which is exciting. It's also now it's going to be at Yankee Bookstore if you're in the Wausau area, and then you can find it online as well. That's Brave Like Grandpa. It's a tribute to our just our love of woodchuck baseball, the team here in town. It's a fun story that we could write for our son. My wife did the writing. I was just there to like add in punch up jokes if needed. Which we didn't use many of my jokes because it's a kids book. Right? All the puns and everything, and all the adult humor I had for it about like taxes and like the profit margins on slushies just didn't go anywhere in the book. So we had to just make it more fun for kids. And then it's also a tribute to my late father-in-law who passed away about a year ago. So we wanted to do something in his memory because he loved baseball. He loved going to woodchuck games. And he was just a great grandfather for my son, even for the short time that he was there to be with them. So it's a great tribute to him, a tribute to our woodchucks, and just super proud of her and putting this all together. Her friend does a lot of publishing with kids books. She's out of Green Bay, and so they got this all put together, and it's just it's great. My sister Faith Fairman, she did all the illustrations for the book, so it truly is a family, locally grown product here, which is great as well.
That's so cool.
And we're going to be doing we'll have some events at the ballpark. I know my wife is talking to Tracy already about doing like when we have kids days, like probably doing some readings for the kids, having the book for sale and having my wife there, selling the book outside the park or right inside the gates there for a couple of games. But we're super excited. We're just super grateful for the Woodchucks to even let us do it because we're using the Woodchuck name. We're using Athletic Park. There is a small part at the beginning of the book, which I should get some royalties for because they do put a giant Wausau in the loudspeaker. So I got to get a cut of that. I got to get my sweet cut, too. But we're also, even like, not to, be all like, capitalists on this, but like, we also thought it's like, this is a great opportunity because like all the Northwoods League teams, like they could have like a Brave Like Grandpa book about like, their mascot and how it's scary for kids. Like all we have to do is replace the mascot, replace some names, replace some things, and bada boom, we got another book that we can sell to other teams. So, because you see that a lot with a lot of books where it's like, oh, it's like my first, like I have like 3 books. It's like my Packers ABCs, my Brewers ABCs, and all those books. It's like every team in the league has that book for their team. So that one publisher is making bank on all these baby books that depending on where the kids' parents live and what teams they follow. So
is your son good with Woody now?
No, still terrified. Still a threat I can use when he is not going to sleep. I can go on the monitor and be like, "Hey, Trevor, it's Woody Woodchucks. You want me to come wave on you?" No! It runs into his bed and he falls asleep. So I can only use that for a couple more years. He's already started to come to find that it might be me. He's asked my mom not my mom, but my wife a couple times, like, "Is that just Dad?" And my mom's like, or my wife's like, "No, that's Woody. It's actually Woody." So I have to. I get a few more. I might get like one more season of run on that one. But if this book actually makes them brave like Grandpa, then I have to find another beloved character to traumatize them with.
we have pictures of our kids just terrified of. We're standing next to Woody, and they're just like the fear in their faces.
Yeah, It's crazy that we think mascots are a good idea for kids, and then it's like obviously not. It's like, what are we like? And like, and if you even go back, like it's crazy to think like the Woody Woodchuck now is like tame compared to like if you look at like a 1940s picture of like the Wisconsin Badger that looks like they pulled a dead moose carcass out of a frozen lake and like propped them up to like cheer on people. Like why? Like that is traumatizing. That is a traumatizing character to put in front of people, adults and kids. Like Woody Woodchuck. It's a fascinating world these mascots live in. It's one thing we've even talked about, like we had thought about like, well, we could like go to the daycare like where my son is at, or if like any of the daycares wanted to do like a reading and like Woody could be there. He's done like the Woody Reads programs, and he shows up for things. And like I've even thought it's like, well, maybe I should be Woody Woodchuck for a game, see what that's like and everything. And then like maybe that's like how Trevor would like actually be comfortable, because it's like, you know, like he would do the joke. It's like, you smell like my dad. And it's like, I am your dad, except with like probably less liquor on me at the moment. But that's not. I've been drinking that much. All right. Anyway, but yeah, that's a big thing about being in the PA thing too. The people think it's like, oh, it's probably great. You get to watch the game, and you're probably having a few drinks up there. It's like, no, you can't, because if like you're drinking beer up there, you're going to be going to the bathroom by the third inning, and I don't have any time to leave that booth. So there is no, like, I think there's only been like a handful of times, I probably count on one hand, when I've been able to leave during a game to go to the bathroom, and it's usually during a pitching change. Like that's like when I know I don't have any obligation other than to hit play on a song, run to the bathroom, and then be back to have it turn off while the batter's when the batter's coming up to plate. So I think the only time I have a break.
Do you prepare for that? Like like
yeah, so I have to. Yeah, so that's like. Yeah, so like before the game, like that kind of goes back to that pregame process. Is like, all right, I know I have 5 minutes before we do starting lineup, so I'm going to go to the bathroom now. And even if I don't have to go, I'm going, and then I'm back in the booth and ready to go. And I can, and you know, it's the whole thing where you kind of just know with time. It's like, all right, I know I have this much time actually left to do something. And then, like, there's always, like, sometimes those umpires, it's like, can you guys just get to the field so we can start this game? Like, I'm literally waiting for you guys so that, like, we're not just standing around waiting for something to happen. It's like the script says, like, okay, the umpires and the coaches meet, and then you get, like, a new umpiring crew, and you got Corey explaining all the ground rules for 15 minutes, and then, you know, and then it's, like, the team that's never been there before, and it's like, oh, my God. Like, if we could just have it where I could just know it's like, all right, it's the same umpiring crew. This is the 5th time we played Green Bay here. Everybody knows the thing. It's like lineup card, shake hands. Everyone good? Cool. We're done. Not even a minute. Let's get this game going. I got a 6:35 first pitch. I'm waiting for you. And I know who's doing national anthem. It's going to take them 2.5. I got the over. We got a band setting up, and then you got to get off the field too. That's the one thing. It's like okay. So I got 2 holy grail things. I'll get to your guys' questions in a moment. Two things I really want to try to do in a future Woodchuck game. One, I want when we have one of our pet band nights, I want them to play the walk-up songs for the first 3 guys of an inning. Like I want them to like play as the band. Have you guys saw the Savannah Bananas thing where they had like a brass, like they had a pet band basically play. They were actually on the field. They played like John Cena's walk-up music for a batter. I think that would be awesome. Like just get them around home plate, playing the music onto the field, just playing like the first. I know one of the bands does Paint It Black. It's easy to do. They'll figure it out. And all the songs they play are all the fun pet band songs anyway. 2, the other thing I really want to do, and this would be if I am on the field doing the hosting, is I want to stand on home plate and announce the starting lineup as if we're at a WWE WrestleMania of some sort on home plate, just barking into that microphone, just all into it, every single pointing at the batter as they're running out on the field. That's my next thing I want to do at some point. I'm going to talk them into letting me do that as well, because I think that would get the crowd going. And I know Madison, they have the people on the field announcing their lineups. So why can't I be on the field announcing a lineup? And I just do that part, and then I'll just be like, all right, I'll see you guys later.
I can't believe you just said that. It's the
What's
team
that?
down south on this podcast.
All right, team down south. That's fine. Now
we don't mention
them. I already mentioned them once already. You called me out on that one, so good luck editing that out.
We'll bleep it out.
Yeah, it'll be a big bleep, and it's like, why did he swear at that moment? Doesn't make any sense.
So, is it true that you're a sourdough maker enthusiast?
I am. Where'd you hear that from? Is that like in a profile I have somewhere?
So it is true.
I got really into baking breads in the last 2 years or so. it's really funny. I was joking with my wife where her family, they kind of just know me in like these weird little spurts where they catch me doing something interesting, and then like whenever the holidays come around, they just lean into that one thing they know about me from the last 12 months. So it's like I was like I got like an outdoor pizza oven that I was like, oh, I want to try to like make some pizza doughs and try to do like a cool like artisanal pizza type stuff. And my sister-in-law was over when I was making pizzas one day, and so she got me like a bread making book. She knew I was making sourdough, so she got me like all these bread-related things. But it's just like, man, what's Tucker into right now? Like that's all we know about him. He's just into sourdough, I guess. So yeah, so I started. I had a sourdough. I'm pretty sure I killed it because I wasn't. You gotta feed it. You gotta take care of it. It's like having a puppy or a girlfriend. It's crazy. So then I got into this bread book I got, and then I'm just doing like day of loaves. So that's my new thing is like not doing like a full sourdough and like having to take care of it, but just like, all right, I can make like the dough in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's all ready to go, and I can make bread and it tastes just as good as sourdough, and it's a lot easier. So that's what, and I can make pizza dough out of it too. So yeah, I love baking. I like doing a lot of that niche type of things. Me and my wife will joke because we like try to make all these plans, and so we want to do all these things, but we never have time to do anything. We have like all these other fun things we want to do too, and like all these like weird hobbies that we have. Like we got into doing jigsaw puzzles when we went on a vacation down to Florida with my family. So we got into jigsaw puzzles. So like we're working on one now. We got one as a Christmas present like 2 years ago. So this requires another side story. Sorry, I'll get to you guys' other questions later. But we went to a Packer game, and they were doing this whole thing about like, try to get a selfie with as many people as possible, and we'll put the best ones on the jumbotron. And like we were in like, you're at a Packer game, so there's a ton of people. So it's like, hey everyone, we were drinking obviously. So I was like, hey everyone, we're gonna get a picture. And so like I get my hand out and we take the picture, and there's like people behind us joining in. There's people that have no idea what's going on. There's like some people looking at my camera. Most people are trying to watch whatever's going on at the field. It was during like, there wasn't a play happening. It wasn't a big deal. But it was a really cool photo, and I'd always had this idea where, instead of like a photo bomb or anything, but I thought it'd be really funny to send out a Christmas card that basically said, with this, so we took this picture, and it said, happy holidays from Tucker, Sam, and whoever the F these people are. And it actually said the F word. And it was on the card, and we sent that to friends and family and loved ones. And this was after me and her had only been dating for like 2 years. So, it was a very bold move on my part to talk my future wife into this move. A lot of mixed reviews, as you can probably imagine, sending a holiday card with profanity on it. Some were sent to families that don't have kids in the house anymore, some that had very little kids in the house still, wondering why the bottom part of the card was cut off or blacked out. So we got a puzzle of that picture that we took, and that was like the first puzzle we did coming back from our holiday vacation. Now we got it framed and we got it hanging up. So it's a cool Packer picture too. So we got into that. We curl during the winter, so we do that. I curl twice a week. I actually invented a game that goes with curling. It's called Silly Spiel. I actually have a copyright for it that I actually registered this. So it's a card game that and I don't know how familiar you are with curling, how our listeners are with curling, but every end you do a different type of rule to enhance your curling fun. So I was working on that all last year. And then I was doing comedy. I played fast pitch for a long time. I just kind of joked, it's like, we just don't like free time at all. We gotta be. And then we're at Woodchuck games. I'm at 20. I'll be doing 21 Woodchuck games, and then I'm doing the home opener for the Wausauuuuuuu Ignite this year. So that's my one softball game I'm gonna be doing. But never know. I might have to fill in here and there. But schedule's good for this year, as you guys went through all the last episode. Schedule's good where there's like good stretches of games where I can do like 3-4 in a row, and then they got a week off, which is nice, where spend a lot of time with the family, doing a lot of the weekend games. I'll be doing all the 12:05 Monday games because it works. I can make that work with my schedule, which is great, and especially with the newer guys who have they have their own jobs too. I can just take them. Like, don't worry about that. Doing the doubleheader, doing the superstars, And then, when Chucks make the playoffs, I'll be doing our playoff games. That's the first thing I said last year too, especially with Corey back. I was like, hey, when the team makes the playoffs, like I got dibs on those playoff games. Like, I think that's and I'm just excited for the season too because it's just like this pattern and it's crazy. We haven't even talked baseball. We could talk another hour about this team and like the baseball about like what's happening this year. But I think what's most exciting about Corey coming back for another year is every year he's come back, the team has gotten better, even with like brand new people or like a couple of new people and like a couple of core guys from the year before. They've just gotten better and better. And I think it's a testament to how and this is what good coaches do, is they learn to win at each level. And like they know how to take that next step every year because you just see the progression. Like he had his first year, they didn't make the playoffs. They were a very okay team. It was a good change of pace from who they had the year before, I remember. And then the next year they had like the best record, but they just didn't make the playoffs for some reason because of the weird how the first half, second half works. And then they make the playoffs. They make the playoffs. They take Wisconsin Rapids to the limit. But the Wisconsin Rapids was the best team, and then they were the best team last year. And then they just can't, close out that team down south. So, you really hope that this is the year. Yeah, thank you. I finally got it right. So you really hope that this is the year, especially as he's going to have some of these core guys back for at least a couple of games that could really help propel the team. And then now you just hope that they take that next step where they're moving on in the playoffs. And now they get to those one-game deciders. Because that was what was exciting. I think that's why I was so excited. It's like, hey, we're in a position where we win this series. It's coming through Athletic Park. And that's awesome, because, as someone who just loves to be at the ball field and watch these games, and you just know the crowd at those games, and you guys being at all these games, you guys know it, that, like, when you get into the playoffs, like that's the crowd that loves this team because like they're there, they've been there for the season, they're there to support the team. We get great fans regardless, for a lot of our nights. They're coming in because of the fireworks, coming in for group outings. They come in because, hey, we're going to try something, we'll go to a ball game, and that's all great. But the people that are there for those playoff games, like those are your diehards. Those are the fans that, a home run in the first inning sounds like a home run in the ninth inning on any other night. It's just so much more energy, and everyone's ready packed for those games. And I think having the consistency as a manager, that's why a lot of the teams who have success in the Northwoods League, they have that same manager coming back every year. Rapids, the other team. Kalamazoo, or not Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo, I think, has had the same coach for a few years that they've won the championship with. Traverse City has had the same coach. So the consistency in coaching really helps, and that helps with the recruiting as well, I think. And then just all the good experiences that you can have with the host families, with coming to a city like Wausau, how you treat the players after a game, like those are the types of things that help the team win. And I think everybody, you can see it. Everybody has a little part of it. I feel like I have a little part of it. I think the fans feel like they have a little part of it. Like where they can, if they're hosting a kid, they feel like they're setting them up for success. It's crazy. I had a friend that I played high school baseball with who went on to play with the Eau Claire Express. He's actually the first base coach for the San Francisco Giants right now. Like he has a career in the major leagues right now. And he would say, like, you go to some of these, he played for the Express, and he was like, yeah, like we'll have like maybe like Subway, but then you have Subway the next night, and we had Subway the next night too. And then you go to another field, and it's like you're getting like a little personal thing. It's like, like I remember seeing, like, we have a nutritionist on the staff. Like they're helping like make sure that these guys are getting the right food in their body. It's not just junk. You have these great sponsors that are coming by and bringing foods for both teams. So it's just a really good environment for kids to play in, so they can just focus on playing ball, and they can just be ready for that next level. It's great to see it. It's going to be an exciting year. I know it.
When it like means something to the players too, like it's just not like let's just go play for the summer, get some attention. Like
right.
No, they want to win. Like they want to win the championship.
And they know they can win in Wausau with Corey at the helm.
Yeah, exactly. And I know it was I don't remember. I can't remember his name. I'm terrible with names. I mean, there's like, you got so many guys that come through the system, and sometimes they're there for a cup of coffee, sometimes they're there all summer. You just never remember. And I think it was like 2 years ago or something, and like it was like kind of iffy if the Chucks were going to make the postseason. I think it was the year they played the Rapids. I think it was 2 years ago. And there was like the guy that he came on late, and there was like talks like, well, he's going to leave after the season's over. He's not going to play in the playoffs. And I was hearing this from Jake because he was the play-by-play guy. He's there on the road trips and everything. So there's like, he was kind of saying, like, yeah, it sounds like he's going to be leaving, which is kind of a bummer. But then he was there for the whole series, and Jake talked to him afterwards. He's like, well, I thought you were going to be leaving. He's like, I never said that. Like, I was always going to play. Like, I love it here. Like, I wasn't here just to play and leave. Like, I wanted to come back, you know. And I think that was even like with Max Galvin last year. Like, everyone was like, well, he's got to go back. He's got to go down to Miami. He's not going to play in the playoffs. And then he played in the one game. It's like, whoa, is Max? It's like, is Max going to play? Is he going to play the whole? You're just like, oh, Max going to play. And then like he wasn't there the next night. It's like, he was there for the one game, which is great. But yeah, it's like these guys want to be here, and I think there's been a lot of years where when, you know, especially when your team's not performing and it's not going, there's a lot of guys coming up with, hey, I think I'm going to try to head back to school a little early this year. You know, I think even like from the schedule making perspective, you know, I remember this was like when the Northwoods League was really more like Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin. You know, like we were playing, everyone was playing each other. Like there was no like division, you know, where you're only playing the Wisconsin teams like it is now. And there was a season where the Woodchucks ended in Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, and that was a week that they had a lot of guys that wanted to go back to school early. It's like, I think my flight leaves that Sunday, right before we're leaving for Michigan. So I think I gotta catch that flight there. I gotta get learning. So it's good. The schedule's kind of a little bit more balanced where the guys don't have. It's the good and bad about the Northwoods League, I would say. Like, it's great we get this expansion. You get all these teams. You get to see some new areas. I mean, me and my wife went to Duluth and Thunder Bay last year to watch the Chucks play. It's like, well, how often are they actually going to go up to Thunder Bay? So we might as well go explore that. And we can go to Duluth. That's not too far. We can drop my son off at my dad's on the way. So we wanted to go explore that because you never know. That might not never happen again, you know, depending on like how Thunder Bay, you know, they're so far north and everything. So it's great that we have this expansion, but it is a bummer that you don't get to sometimes play some of these other teams and kind of go explore some of these other areas. But it's also good that you can kind of like, okay, well, we don't have to go on a huge road trip. I mean, they're going to go out to basically Detroit, you know, for their Michigan road trip for a week. But it's good that they can have those games where it's like, hey, we're just going to go to Rapids or Green Bay for the night, and then we're back right away. Like we're not doing all these overnight trips as some of these teams are doing. Like a lot of if you're out in North Dakota, you're on the road for an entire week, you know, before you're heading back home. So
yeah, that's what Sam was saying. Our last guy that we interviewed. I don't know if you heard that one.
Yeah,
he said they would sleep on the bus.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, after that last game of that series, you're on the bus. But for these guys too, like that's what you're prepping for. Like you want to make it to the show. Like you're gonna have a lot more nights like that where, I mean, the minor league schedule is you basically have Monday off, and then you're doing Tuesday through Sunday of games, and then you're on the road or you're home, but like you're on the bus a lot when you're doing that. There's no charter flights for the minor league guys.
It's like it's like the Big Ten where you're going to play Oregon on.
I know,
night,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And UCLA,
and they're flying back unless they have like for some reason the schedule works out. You know, like for basketball, I guess. You know, like the schedule works out. You have to do like a West Coast swing, but yeah, and that's the beauty of the Northwoods League is like that. You know, we talk about like all the interns that work behind the scenes, but like this is baseball internship. You know, this is for the players. You know, like this is to get you used to the 72 games in 70 days. I don't know if it's that. It might be 72 and 72 now. I know they got a couple more extra days in there, but you're gonna feel that grind of every day during the summer, whether you're on the road and then like how do you take that time when you have a day off? Like what are you using that for? Is it for recovery or relaxing, or are you gonna do something dumb? Like I don't think there's a lot of guys out there doing dumb stuff, but like hopefully you kind of have that hope that they're using that day to like relax and kind of just like take it easy, maybe you're, getting a light lift in or whatever. But you gotta learn the grind, and you gotta learn to love the grind too. You gotta learn to love being on the road and having like an 0 for 9 stretch, and then like trying to fight through it somehow, and being humble enough to know, like, if you're getting taken out of the lineup, it's just to get your head right and just to give you a time to step away, watch the game, take it in, learn something, and just get that grind, is what it's all about. So it's like, I always tell people, like, they always ask, like, I tell people I do this PAing for a baseball team, and it's like, oh, what, single A, double A? It's like, no, it's a college, it's a baseball internship. They're interning to be big leaguers, hopefully someday.
That we're creating a Chucking It Up playlist where we ask every guest, like, what is their song that gets them pumped up, gets them going, and then we add it to the playlist. So what is that one song for you?
I think it always depends on my mood that really gets me going. But I'll give you one that's kind of obscure, but it's just the way that it starts and how it jumps into it. And when you hear it, you'll might get it. I'm gonna give you a couple of options because I know everybody's like, but it's Holland 1945 by Neutral Milk Hotel. It's if you don't think about like what the song's about, it's just a really fun, awesome song at the beginning. But unfortunately, it's about Anne Frank, so it's kind of sad. But it's very upbeat and catchy, and it's but like the first part is he just does the countdown, and then it's just a bombardment of horns and guitar and everything, and it just soars from there. And it's definitely one of the songs that it'll get me in the right mood, especially when I hear it every once in a while. Another one that I've tried to actually incorporate for players that is like a super deep cut that just comes in with a fury. It's the Apples in the Stereo, Rainfall, because it's just like heavy guitar, like high pitched guitar, really fast paced. So just really like that song too. I mean, back if High School Tucker would have put some Blink-182 song in on there. But High School Tucker would have had that one, or something by The Clash. And I was such a wide variety. My uncle got me into like good music, and then like really good like 80s, 70s punk bands. So yeah, like I guess like those two you can add to the playlist, Rainfall and Neutral Milk Hotel, because those are some deep cuts that probably wouldn't be. I mean, I feel like all ball players have like some weird deep cut song that they really like that like no one likes outside of them, which makes when I do the walk up music, it's like, oh my god, who is this pumping up? Like, I remember who it was, but they had some song that started off really slow. It's like, I don't know if it gets you in the right headspace, dog. I think yes. Like I always like the guys said like a lot of players like they got like some Bad Bunny or some rap song that gets them going and everything.
That's who
I was.
That's who Jasmine, the head coach or the manager for the Ignite, picked. A Bad Bunny song.
Yeah. Yep.
It's in Spanish. I don't understand a word, but it does slap. It's a good one.
Yeah, I know. And like I even like there's like a lot of like WWE walk up like entrance music songs, like some of the modern stuff. I tried to like get like Becky Lynch's song in there because like that's got a good. I don't know if you guys are wrestling guys. I'm a closet.
Cody Rhodes has a good one.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes is a good one. I love the I just love those type of like the crowd interaction ones are always really good. Like Finn Balor's was really good. Then they got some new like when Finn Balor first got to WWE, he had a song that slapped. I saw him when NXT was in Green Bay. He was there with like he did a match with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's got a song that slaps, especially when it's the right moment, like when he wins matches and when he won the Intercontinental Championship last year. Like that was a song that slapped when that came out. Or when he did the match against Roman Reigns in Montreal, everyone's singing the song behind it. And going back to Bad Bunny, when Bad Bunny at Backlash a year ago was against Damian Priest, and like the entire crowd is singing the song. Like, I mean, it's just, those are like moments like it's like I just want to watch that moment, and then I didn't even watch the match. I just heard like it was an amazing entrance. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna watch that, and I'll be good. Like, I don't.
The really good one now is Joe Hendry.
Oh, yep.
That will
Joe
stick in your
Hendry,
head
yep.
for days.
I know. Yeah, that was a good. You guys watched WrestleMania, I take it, last weekend then?
I watched the Pat McAfee show, so I get all his clips.
Okay, so you just kind of get it through osmosis. Yeah. So he showed up at WrestleMania. So that was like the surprise match against Randy Orton, which was actually good. I didn't really know Joe Hendry. I've heard of him through just on social media, and then I watch Botchamania, so I get most of my wrestling news from watching people screw up wrestling moves. But he does, I don't know if you realize, he does the turn and they do the zoom in on him. So he did the zoom, he did the turn and the zoom in, and then he got RKO'd right away.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was exactly what you want out of an RKO. It was exactly what you want out of a WrestleMania moment like that. So our next wrestling topic we get to. Oh wait, chucking it up. Okay. I did the joke and then it stopped the recording. It's like, we're not talking about baseball anymore. We're not talking about baseball. We have to stop this recording.
Okay. Well, yeah. Is there anything you wanted to plug, your comedy or anything?
Well, I try to do comedy over at Comedy City in Green Bay. Even if I'm not there, if you're in the Green Bay area, go check it out. You'll find great comedians there doing improv Fridays and Saturday nights. I'm going to try to get back into that swing. Hopefully next fall. Son's going to be a little bit older, so it'll be a little bit easier to take him to shows. He'll actually know what's going on in a show.
Yeah.
And he won't just want to watch his tablet. He'll actually want to watch me perform. We've tried showing him my comedy, just hey, Dad's on TV, and he's like, I'll literally watch anything else other than this. Then my wife's like, I agree. I've seen this act too much too. So go check out Comedy City over in Green Bay, and then come to Athletic Park, come to a ball game. You'll hear me a lot over the PA deal. So and then I do want to do one thing for you guys. I wanted to give you an official intro. So after you have your cut, I can introduce you guys. So we'll see how this sounds. Or we can do this later, or we can do it now, and then if it's not good, we'll just re-record it. We'll stop or I'll just get kicked out and we'll have to refresh it anyway and do it. So I wrote a little thing. Hopefully this will work. So let me know, and if we have to re-record it, we will. Or we'll cut all of this out in editing.
All right.
And you can just sign us off or just say we lost connection with them, unfortunately. So our thanks for Tucker. We can't have anything else on the show because he talked for an hour and a half about wrestling. All right. Anyway. All right. So we'll do a clean. So everyone pause here. From the borough at Athletic Park in Wisconsin, it's Chucking It Up with Eric and Dan.
That's really cool.
That's perfect.
Right. Well, if that works, great. If not, whatever.
You have to go. You have to go put your son back to bed now.
No, I'm in a separate office area. That's the one thing about we've got this house right before during the pandemic actually, and it's actually a separate office area outside in our backyard. So I can be as loud as I want in here. It won't matter. Well, he slept through the thunderstorms last night too, so it wasn't I wasn't gonna wake him up anyway.
All right, then we have got one final question for you, and is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah. Who cares? I don't care. If you want it to be, look, follow your heart. Whatever you think it is. These questions like this. This is why we're divided as a country. Because Eric, you had the most visceral reaction when I said it was a sandwich. Dan, you had just glee. This is why we're divided as a country, because we take on these questions and we feel like we have to have a view. Is cereal soup?
Every single guest has said yes so far.
Maybe
it is.
Yeah, maybe it is, and it doesn't matter either. It's bread and meat, I don't know. Is a calzone a sandwich? It's meat and it's bread. I slap it together.
Right.
Is it toaster
strudel? How many holes does a straw have?
Just the one. Just the one.
But there's a top and a bottom.
Yeah, but it's one giant tube, which is
See what I mean? No, we could go on about this for a little bit, talking about it too.
This is why we're divided as a country. We need to come together. And we need to tell everyone that if you want 2 souls and a straw, you can have 2. If you want to have 1, you can have 1. I will stand by this platform. Everybody gets a straw that they want, and if it's crazy, the better. If you want to put raw meat in a piece of bread and call it Wildcat, you can. If you want to have a hot dog plain with no ketchup or mustard, you can do it. We can do it as a country. And this is why I'm running for president. I feel like I was going to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger there for a second. It went from Kennedy to Arnold Schwarzenegger really, really quick. That happens. I'm very bad at it. If you come see me do comedy, I'll do voices poorly. I start with a character and then it turns into just me being loud. That's just me in general. No consistency whatsoever.
Actually, I got one more. Who's your favorite comedian?
Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien. I grew up watching. I started watching him when I was in high school. I had a girlfriend that when I would go over to her house or she would come over to my house, our curfews were basically like when Conan was over, like we had to leave because we were like our houses were like 30 minutes apart. So like she had to be home by 1 or I had to be out of her house by 1. So I didn't have really a curfew. My dad didn't care apparently. But when Conan was over, that was when I knew I had to leave. So like we would basically like just sit and watch Conan, and that was I just learned so much comedy, self-deprecating humor, and just like goofy humor that came from that show. And I still like there's comedians I've really liked in the past, like Mitch Hedberg, he's dead. So that's a bummer. And then Mike Birbiglia was someone I really liked, but I don't really like him anymore. But like Conan O'Brien, he's like just always reinvented himself and has always like felt like the most original, like always trying to be more original at things. And that's been my thing in my life and just in my career is like I just can't do normal cliche things. I have to make it my own, like so even like when it comes to like PA announcing, like I want to make it my own. Like I'll look at how other people are doing it, and there's sometimes where it's like that wasn't as good as I would do it, or like my wife will we'll go to like a Timber Rattlers game, and it's like you do that better, And I just want to have my own flair on it. Like even when we got married, like I didn't want to have like a by the book wedding. Like we sold off parts of our wedding. Like we said, like if you want to do a reading at our wedding, that'll cost you $50. We don't care who does it. If you pay us, we'll let you do it. We let people buy seats at our head table. It's like I don't know, like people who are in the wedding party, they want to sit with the people they know, not this random stranger we paired them with for the day. Like let's put people that are willing to pay us more money to sit at our table. And that was their gift. Like we told them, like your gift to us is your presence at this table. You're gonna pay us anyway, so you might as well pay us to get something out of it in the wedding. So we just sold off all these random parts of our wedding. And we actually did when we did the Grand March, I picked wrestling themes for everyone to come out to, and me and my wife came out to Daniel Bryan's song when he was still with the WWE. Then we did the Yes Chant running down, and I got up on nobody knew what we were doing. I was like, we just got to keep doing this, everyone, and they will join in. Like, just keep doing this, keep saying yes, everyone will follow it. We sold kisses. Like you had to buy a kiss if you wanted us to kiss during the dinner or something. You had to buy a kiss from us. We actually sold tokens so they could like cash them in. So then when we were doing our first dance, people were pelting tokens at us, like these wooden tokens. Actually, sorry, I have like a handful of them still around here somewhere. And then like one of my cousins was like running out onto the dance floor, like he's like the tennis ball boy at the U.S. Open, just running, grabbing these tokens and reeling them back in so we don't trip on them. It was like I just can't do anything that I feel like is something that's been done before, is kind of cliche. Like I just try to avoid that at all costs. Just try to, it's you just want to. I just want to make something original and do something unique, and that's just going to make it more fun for me. And it's like sometimes people are like, oh, it'd be fun to go to the Wisconsin Dells. It's like, oh, doesn't everyone go to the Wisconsin Dells? Like, can't we do like? Yeah, I get it. We'll do it for the kid. Yeah, fine. But like, let's do like something different. Like we can find something cool to do. So like, I just always want to try to find something new and fresh, and something that is going to be good for everybody, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, we'll let you off on that note.
I should let you guys go. Good grief.
Yeah.
I should be ending this. Well, I think you guys got stuff to do, right? Or
No, it's really great to have you come on and give this perspective. We've had players, coaches. Now we got the PA guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fun guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk later. We'll do like a year in review of the season or something. Whatever you guys want to do. Yeah, I'll be on anytime you want. I got nothing else to do. Please have me back. Please have me back. I need stuff to do. I want to be entertaining. I want to make people laugh. Please. I'll even waive my fee. I'll waive my appearance fee. There's an invoice coming for you guys. Sorry, I didn't bring that up before.
Right.
All right, well, we'll see you, Tucker.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. Let's go, Chucks. We'll see you at the ball field.
All right.